What's up, people? My name is Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, currently ranking and reviewing the Grateful Dead's Dick's Picks, the 36 volume release that happened from the early 1990s all the way through 2005, I think. Reviewing them in groups of six because they were released not in groups of six, but the art sort of conceptualized. Each group of six had sort of a different art concept. I've done 1 through 6, 7 through 12. We are now on 13 through 18. This is the fractals concept. Each disc has its own sort of version of some crazy sort of fractalized image, some, psychedelic artwork at its most sort of trippiest type thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review these six and rank them from number 6 through number 1. Then after that, I'm just going to read through my list, including all 18. So you will find out what is 18th out of the 18 and what is at number 1. And then I'm going to rank the dark stars that have all appeared so far. I think we have 2 more dark stars added in this, maybe only 1 more dark star added in this. We'll flesh out the Dark Star list. But anyways, also I started this channel to only discuss things Frank Zappa. This follows under Frank Zappa's Big Note because Teenage Wind, Grateful Dead concert, extra rush during Jerry's guitar solo, at the very least. So anyways, that reference, that connection is there at the very least. But anyways, that's it. Let's get on to Dick's Picks. Volumes 13 through 18, on to number 6 of those 6. Number 6 is volume 15. This is a complete show from Englishtown, New Jersey, September 3rd, 1977. I do believe there's a weird edit somewhere in there because Jerry messes up some vocals, as to be expected. But other than that, I don't think it in any way affects the show. This is here mainly because it's a great show with one standout moment. I think all 6 of these in this run are great shows, and it kind of boils down to what standout moments stand out more than the others, because none of these are in any way bad shows. This is a solid first set, all of disc 1. I think it's just disc 1 is the first set. Let me check on that. Yeah, the first set is the entirety of disc 1. You open up with a Promised Land. You get a good They Love Each Other. Nice Mississippi half step in there. A Peggio, which is always a plus. And then a Strong Music Never Stop to close, among some other things, typical of 77. The second set opens up with Bertha, Good Lovin'. I love Bertha. Not a fan of it being paired with Good Lovin' because I don't like Good Lovin'. Then Loser, which I'm always a fan of, but it's kind of neat to see it as a second set Loser. We get an Estimated Eyes, which is a good Estimated Eyes, and then a Samson. And then it's on CD3 where we get that moment that I think is truly the standout moment on this disc. He's gone into a monstrous Not Fade Away. It's like a near 20-minute Not Fade Away. And the energy in this Not Fade Away is absolutely incredible. I think it actually takes them quite a while to even get to the vocals once they start jamming it. It is just like, and then Not Fade Away goes into the truck, and then the encore is a Terrapin Station, which is a fantastic encore. I think they even give a little speech about this is off our new album, go buy it before they play it. But the Not Fade Away, this is a good show with great performances throughout, but it is the Not Fade Away on here that you must hear. I like the He's Gone paired with Not Fade Away to listen to that whole thing, because then you get 12 minutes of 15 minutes. You get a nice segue jam into the Not Fade Away. But if you only check out one track, check out the Not Fade Away. It is monstrous. It is amazing. But ultimately, it is just that singular one spectacular lightning moment. And I think all these other shows have maybe 2, if not more, absolutely spectacular moments. But yeah, number 6, volume 15, 1977, September 3rd. Number 5 is volume 18. This is a 3-disc set, a combination of 2 shows from February 1978, both in Iowa. Dane County Coliseum, February 3rd. Unidome, the University of Northern Iowa, February 5th. And I think it's the first disc is sort of a simulation of the first set. I think there's actually a third show in there maybe that they combine tracks from. But the first disc is like a first set with tracks from each of the shows. The second disc is mostly set 2 from the third, and the third disc is, I think, all of set 2 from the fifth. And then the encore on the second disc is also from the fifth. So this is when, like, number 15 is a great show, but that was the easiest decision to make. These next 5 through 2, I had a really, really hard time with, because all of these I listened to pretty frequently when I listen to Dick's Picks. They're all spectacular. The energy on this show is fantastic from start to finish. Only problem is opens up with a birth of Good Lovin'. Don't like the Good Lovin'. After Good Lovin', and I kind of talked about this, I think, in the first review of these series, is they play Cold Rain and Snow as the third song. And I like Cold Rain and Snow as an opener. I don't like it as a second song because I feel Jerry could be going somewhere else. But as a third song in this show, it almost feels like Jerry's like, oh, I'm sorry about that Good Lovin', guys. Let's get this energy going back again. And again, it's not in real time. These are from different shows. But the placement of it on here, I think, helps me get over the sort of disappointment of Good Lovin'. And the show kind of feels like it starts over. But in this first set, there's a good It's All Over Now, Dupree's Diamond Blues, and the final 4 songs are just energy ridiculous. Incredibly fast, upbeat, perfectly performed Brown Eyed Woman, Passenger, Deal, and a Music Never Stop that just is one of those you don't ever want to stop. And the closing jam is just one of the most energetic, just like amazing music stop jams. It's the Music Never Stop jam you want to hear. It is so good. The second disc, Estimated Eyes, both solid Estimated Eyes. Then there's a Playin', Into the Wheel, back into Playin', which is spectacular. And then Johnny Be Good. That's the entirety of the second disc. All of these things are nice and long and jammed out, so you get a lot. I think the first Playin' in the band is like 25 minutes long before it goes into the wheel. So spectacular performances there. And then CD3, Samson and Delilah opener, a Scarlet Begonias that has one of the most beautiful, mesmerizing, when he's done with the vocals and they're like getting ready to go into the jam, there's just this cascade of like Jerry and Keith, this Keith, right, 78, just this like just before they go out into outer space, the Scarlet Begonias version of outer space. It is just such a transcendent moment. Into a Fire, then we get a Truck in Drums, really solid other one, Wharf Rat, and then an Around and Around as an encore. So just a really solid show. That Scarlet Begonias and the entire CD2 are probably the peak of these, and then the last 4 songs in that first set are just spectacular. But again, a great show. The only reason it's ranked number 5 is because the other 4 are also great shows. But yeah, number 5 out of this 6, volume 18, couple shows from Iowa, 1978. Number 4, volume 16. This is, I think it's a complete show from the Fillmore in November 8th, 1969. And I guess there's one song from the previous night on here. Don't know which one that is. But anyways, oh yeah, the Turn on Your Love Light at the very end. It's like a really long Turn on Your Love Light, like a 25-minute. That's like a bonus track at the end. But this show falls to number 4 simply because it's merely a fantastic, great show. And there are a couple truly unique moments, but those truly unique special moments are not as high as the truly unique special moments I think appear on the next 3. But this is a fantastic, ridiculous performance from start to finish with an incredible set list. CD1, pretty much, I think, might be the first set, feels like the first set. Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, which I don't like. Casey Jones, Dire Wolf, which I don't like, and I think this is a pretty weak Dire Wolf, if I'm not mistaken. An Easy Wind, a China Rider, High Time, which is awesome. A Mama Tried, an early Mama Tried. That's pretty cool. Good Lovin', and then the first ever Cumberland Blues. So that's pretty neat to hear. So probably the weakest of the 3 discs as far as my preferences go. Disc 2 and Disc 3 are just perfect early Dead. You get a Dark Star into the other one. Neither one of those are too long. I think the Dark Star is like 15 minutes. The other one's about 10 minutes long. Back into Dark Star, into an Uncle John's band when they just jam the da da dun 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 part. They do that for a couple minutes. That goes back into Dark Star. Then we get a Saint Stephen. Then we get in the 11. Just a spectacular run of music from like start to finish. None of these, I think, are the best ever of any of these songs, but they're all great and don't have any flaws. And there's a nice little Uncle John's band in the middle of it, and the segueing in and out is always fun. And then disc 3, we have a caution, a nice long caution. It's like a 18-minute caution jam. That goes into the main 10, which is like the intro to playing in the band. So they jam on that for a while, then they go back into caution, then we get a really nice feedback, and then we close out with a We Bid You Goodnight with that Turn On Your Love Light as a bonus track, which I don't really care for, Turn On Your Love Light, so it's an okay bonus track. It's got a nice little jam in it, but 26 minutes of Turn On Your Love Light. That's one thing I will skip. But anyways, just a fantastic, fantastic show with some really nice, interesting sort of little snippets of jams and other songs thrown in the mix that make it pretty interesting. Definitely not a bad note. I mean, it might be some bad notes, but definitely nothing wrong with this. But it's number 4 because the other 3 are still so ridiculously good. And that is Volume 16, February 8th, 1969. Number 3 is Volume 17. This is a 91 show, September 25th, 1991. This is with both Vince Welnick and Bruce Hornsby. Boston Garden. There's 2 bonus tracks that are also from an earlier show in, I think, the end of March. It's also from Boston. A Samson and Delilah, and probably one of the best Eyes of the World. The Dead have played in many a decade. I mean, like over 20 minutes. Just an incredible early jam. It's not even that they play the song and then they jam out at the end, which they do. But there's just the jams in the middle. I think the first one in particular. It's not just a Jerry solo. It's just this epic, stretched out thing. Hornsby takes some time. Jerry takes some time. Just an incredibly beautifully well played Eyes of the World. And that's the bonus track. That's the stuff that comes at the end of side 3. That helped elevate this a little bit higher. And I do think part of why I like this one as much as I do is it is by far the best of like the recent releases. So if I want to hear something recent in the Dick's Pick series, I think this is the one I reach to. Plus there is a moment on here that is so incredibly special that I just absolutely love. But anyways, it's the complete show. Oh, I mean, it's a great set list also. The performances might not be like comparable to like late 70s performances of some of these songs, but the energy is good. And the set list is just fantastic. Opens up with the Help Slip Franklin's. I think the slip is the best part of it. But I think they nail almost everything. I think the vibe is right. The energy's good. They're performing it well. Got a Walkin' Blues, and It Must Have Been the Roses, which is always great to hear. Unfortunately, that goes into Dire Wolf. I have a Dire Wolf issue. Queen Jane Approximately actually sounds nice, especially before they get to the vocals. It just feels like there's a really different vibe to the instruments. It just sounds really good. Tennessee Jet into a really good Music Never Stopped. And that was the thing I was like, as I was listening to this, yes, I'm listening to like a sample recording of this, but I just remember attending these shows, wasn't at this show in particular, but I saw the Dead a lot in the late 80s, early 90s, and they were giant arenas and they were giant stadiums and they were really, really large spaces. Their sound was always fantastic. And it was amazing how you could always almost hear every single musician, you know, in those jammy moments and those delicate moments. And that just comes across the hugeness of their sound. So that's side 1. Side 2, we get a Victim or the Crime, one of my favorite songs, into Crazy Fingers, into Playing in the Band, into Terrapin Station, into a really nice post-Terrapin jam that gets indexed as Boston Clam Jam. But it's not that Terrapin riff ending. It goes off into different directions. But again, but Bruce Hornsby's presence, and I guess maybe even the energy that Vince Welnick brings in, is leading them to so many more interesting, incredibly creative places. And I did say this before, especially post Brent, But even during Brent's era, some of the most interesting music the Dead ever played was going into drums, either out of Terrapin and then they kind of jam for a while or playing or whatever it was they were playing, Eyes. There were so many incredibly special moments pre-drums. This is one of those special moments. Then we get drums. Then we get a really good space. And then out of space, Jerry starts playing Paul McCartney's That Would Be Something. It is just a sort of a wisp of a song. I wish I had listened to it before so I could remember the lyrics, but the lyrics are literally really simple, like that would be something if we did something together. They're really short, concise lyrics. It's a really simple song. It almost seems like one of those songs McCartney just kind of sat down, picked up his acoustic guitar, said, oh, I have this idea, recorded it, and then like just released it. I think it was on his first album, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just this perfect, beautiful little wisp of a song. And Jerry is playing it so delicately, and it just is so magical and so special and so random and out of nowhere. It is just an absolutely beautiful, special moment. That goes back into playing in the band. Then we get a China Doll, which is fantastic. Always here for the China Doll. And then we get a Throwing Stones, Not Fade Away. We haven't had a Throwing Stones yet. I like hearing Throwing Stones. It's nice to have an official version of that. And then for the encore, because this is what the Dead do. When we give you a bunch of treats, we just dump all the treats in your lap. They play the Mighty Quinn for an encore. Excellent choice. And then you get the Samson Eyes bonus tracks. But yeah, it's a 91 show, but it's a great set list, fantastic performances. The energy is good. And the short, I think it's less than 4 minutes, That Would Be Something. Is just one of the most magical, spontaneous, delicate, perfect things I think the Dead have done in a long time, but definitely in sort of the post-Brent era. So yeah, fantastic. My number 3 out of this 6 of volume 17, September 25th, 1991. Number 2 is volume 13. This is from Nassau Coliseum, May 6, 1981. On the thing, on the cover, there is the complete show is here. And I have to admit that even though I think there are other first set simulations that are better than this first set, and even the second set, the first half of the second set, well, the first half of the second set I actually really like, other than the New Minglewood opener. But even though there were some shows which might be consistently maybe a little better than this one, the highs on this disc are so stupidly high that, a rising tide lifts all boats. So CD1 is the first set. Yeah, the first set. We get an Alabama Getaway into Greatest Story Ever Told opener. Always there for that. Nice They Love Each Other. Cassidy. Nice Jackarow. I think this is the Jackarow that really takes a long time to develop. A really nice Jackarow. A Little Red Rooster. Dire Wolf. Looks Like Rain, Big Railroad Blues, always there for a Big Railroad Blues. And then we get a Let It Grow into Deal, which is pretty fantastic. Neither one of those are the best of the best, but they're both solid performances. CD2, there's only 4 songs listed on CD2. Get a New Minglewood Blues, then you get a High Time, always excellent choice. Into a Lost Sailor, into a Saint of Circumstance. So I am a big Lost Sailor, Saint of Circumstance fan. I like those songs. So it's nice to hear those. But that's all you get on CD2 according to the track listing. CD3 is where the real magic begins. You get a He's Gone, and that He's Gone eventually, after a pretty strong normal He's Gone, goes into a 15-minute Caution Spanish jam. You get a straight up Caution jam. You get a straight up Spanish jam. It is magical. It is better than it sounds. Lasts for 15 and a half minutes. It is just absolutely amazing. That goes into drums. We get a nice jam out of drums. Into the other one. Going down the road feeling bad. A solid Wharf Rat. Unfortunately, we get a Good Lovin'. Then we get a Don't Ease Me In as an encore. I'm a big fan of a Don't Ease Me In as an encore. The He's Gone Spanish jam is ridiculous. Fantastic. Probably not enough to raise this to number 2. Probably would bump it back maybe like 4 or 5. But on disc 2, 1 minute after Saint of Circumstance ends, there are 2 bonus tracks. It is a Scarlet Fire from a 79 show. I think it's November 1st, 1979. So again, we're in the Midland era. And I'm pretty sure it is the longest Scarlet Fire ever. 35 minutes. The Scarlet is pretty much the reason why it's longer. The fire is as long as these fires usually are. How long is the fire? The fire is a good 16 minutes long. But the Scarlet, it is funky. It is like almost like a Shakedown Street kind of ending, the Brent Midland era Shakedown Streets that get super, super funky at the end. It just gets super funky. It goes places Scarlets usually don't go. It gets kind of dark starry out there for a little while. But yeah, it is just a transcendent jam. Not listed on the set list, not listed on the packaging, but it is a hidden track that starts 1 minute after Saint of Circumstance ends. And it is ridiculous. It is fantastic. It is awesome. And it helps lift this all the way to number 2, Volume 13. A complete show from 81 with 2 incredible bonus tracks from 79. And number 1 is Volume 14, which kind of should come as no surprise. If you knew there was a late 73 show in the mix, chances are it's going to be my favorite. Or 74 would only trump a late 73. But this is not complete shows, but music, essentially the best parts of 2 shows. November 30th, 1973, December 2nd, 1973, both the Boston Music Hall. It is a 4 CD set. We have now upped the game to 4 CDs. That would happen again in the future runs of 6 quite often as we get towards the end. The first 2 CDs cover the 30th show. The second 2 CDs cover the second show. Again, this is 73, 74 era stuff, so the set lists are fantastic. CD 1, we get a Morning Dew. I think that is the actual opener of the show. Mexicali Blues, Dire Wolf, Black Throated Wind, and Don't Ease Me In, which I like in the middle of a set. Big River, another one. Why do we have big rivers? They love each other, and then a fantastic playing in the band to close out. This is a long playing in the band. I forgot how long this is, like 20 plus minutes, like 23 minutes. One of 2 playing in the bands that would be on here. Just fantastic music. Even like the songs that I don't like, this era for some reason, Kreutzmann's the only drummer. There's something about the sound of this era that I like a lot. But that's first CD is probably the weakest CD of here. CD 2 is the majority of the set list from this first show. We get a fantastic, high energy Here Comes Sunshine. We get a weather report suite that goes off into a legitimate Dark Star jam. And then that goes into Eyes of the World. And again, this is 73, 74. So these Eyes of the World are long. They got the little changes at the end of him. Not Stronger Than Dirt, but the thing that kind of sounds like Stronger Than Dirt. And then that eventually goes into a Sugar Magnolia. The Eyes of the World's like 20 minutes long. The Dark Star Jam's a good, healthy 10 minutes. This is just one of those shows where once the music starts, it just never seems to stop until the dead are tired and want to go home. Just one of those epic, flowing second sets. CD3 is tracks from the first set of the second show: Cold Rain and Snow, Beat It On Down the Line, Brown Eyed Woman, Jack Straw, Rambled on Rose. We get another weather report suite, a standalone weather report suite, doesn't jam in anything, and then a Wharf Rat and a Mississippi Half Step. Mississippi Half Step then goes into, we're on a disc, the final disc here, the highlight. One of the best things, one of the top things, one of the best tracks in this entire run, the playing in the band into the jam. The playing in the band is only 12 minutes long. The jam is like 16 minutes long. So this is like a 28-minute playing in the band. Don't know why they indexed the jam separately. Yes, they never returned back into playing in the band, but it's still, playing in the band has birthed this jam. And this is eventually, so we get a playing in the band with like sort of typical playing in the band jam energy. And then we go into like the deepest, darkest, noisiest, scraping the strings with your pick, making sounds. I don't even know who's making them. I think they're like fill, noise, bass tone bombs. Not really sure. Just, we are out there in the deepest, craziest, darkest, just space. Reminds me of, and I think I've referenced this before, David Bowman's journey at the end of 2001 Space Odyssey. The part when like his face is all contorted and things are flying at him and he has no idea what's going on, and then he goes into this just lush like craziness. If you've not seen 2001 and you just want to watch that scene to kind of get a sense of where this track goes, if you go to YouTube, they have many people, or it is linked up, where they have the last 20 plus minutes of 2001 A Space Odyssey with Pink Floyd's Echoes, and they match those up. But you get to watch just that segment of 2001 A Space Odyssey with Echoes, which is a bonus. But that's kind of the area, the deep, deep space that this one goes to. But after they get out of deep, deep space, and it almost seems like the song is just over, it's done, nobody's doing anything, they delicately and softly and just beautifully out of the ashes, they start playing Mind Left Body Jam, and there is just an epic, beautiful, like the exact opposite of their Space Jam, cascading, wonderful, happy Mind Left Body Jam that is ridiculous. Arguably some of the best 28 minutes of music in this entire run. Absolutely fantastic. That goes into a He's Gone, of all things. This is the entirety of the second set, I think, pretty much. Not the entirety of the second set, but we're now in the second set of that show. I think we went back to Weather Report Suite was, I don't know. I think Wharf Rat opened up the second set. Mississippi into the plan, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, then we get a He's Gone, a Truckin', into a Stella Blue, and then just as it all began on disc 1, we get a Morning Dew to close it all out. Yeah, just fantastic performances. My favorite era of the band. If there is one thing you check out that Playing in the Band jam. It is just the Playing in the Band into the jam. It is utterly transcendent and one of those things that really only the Grateful Dead ever do in music. Absolutely fantastic. My number 1, Volume 14. All right, so that's it for this 6. I am now going to put up on the screen, bam, there is my list of how all 18 rank. The very bottom, we have 9 and 1, which are, I think, the only two that I think have moments which kind of drag and are not that good. I think all these other volumes are pretty great, and like you can't go wrong with them. It's just they're all great. So some of them have to be better than others, and really it just comes down to what songs I like and what songs I don't like. But you can see the top 3 on the list are all 73, 74 era stuff. Easily my favorite era. Volume 12, 14, 7, they're all just fantastic releases. 3 is just a magical release that has some really just consistently fantastic stuff from 77, May 77 of all things. 4 and A, we got a couple, earlier 70 shows. And then the highest of the recent era, then 13, we got that fantastic 81, a Midland show. And then number 8, 17, the highest of the Welnick Hornsby era, with that fantastic sort of just the energy and the just Hornsby's contributions, just all it. But that's it. And so here now is my list of how I would rank the Dark Stars from this era. We now have so far 6 of them. I guess it's 2 per every 6. I think that trend kind of continues. Still, my favorite is that kind of laid back, low key, the one that has the, I think it's a Tighten Up jam, the Volume 2. Volume 7, again, fantastic, 74 era one. 11, 4, I know a lot of people really like 4. I think it's fantastic, but it's a very disjointed fantastic. 16 is great, high energy, but again, it's not as out there as they would eventually become. And then the 14 one is fantastic, but it is just a jam only. It's not a full-on Dark Star, but it is still excellent. All of these are excellent. But anyways, yeah, those are my just rankings of things that I listen to. So let me know your thoughts on this, why I'm wrong, why I'm right. If you do go and listen to any of these and you have opinions of things I got right or I got wrong, or whatever, just comment below. We're adults. Let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks for watching and have a good day, people. Peace.